A superhuman has been spotted in South Korea. He kicked the top assassin Shao Kai away. However, he didn't know that Shao Kai's body had also been enhanced. It was just in the activation stage. As Shao Kai's potential was unleashed, the superhuman was also brought down. However, such a strong superhuman wasn't without weaknesses. These experimental subjects feared bright light. Exposure to light for a while would cause them to explode. However, Shao Kai seemed to have overcome the effects of light. She was even able to react and continue fighting. Shao Kai gained this superpower by chance. As a top assassin, she had a dual personality. Not long ago, she found her father's body near the parking lot. Shao Kai was choked up, but she wasn't really sad. Soon, her father's funeral was held as scheduled. Before long, a restaurant owner arrived there. He was an old acquaintance of her father. He wanted to invite Shao Kai to the restaurant for a meal, but what legitimate boss would hire so many thugs? Of course, Shao Kai wasn't an ordinary person. She remained calm in the face of a group of people staring at her while eating. Boss Yen Mo was a bit speechless. He saw that the other party was so impolite, and wanted to say something, but he was too scared by Shao Kai's gaze to speak. Yen Mo quickly handed over some pickles to please her. When she finished eating, he directly took out 2 bundles of cash. He said this was just a deposit. The final payment would be much more than this.
됐어. 야, 잠깐만. 아니 왜 네 맘대로 결정해?
Everyone was used to this kind of self-questioning behavior, because Shao Kai had a twin brother's personality. However, this also gave Yen Mo an opportunity to persuade her. He stated that the safe was crafted by a master, and in Korea, only Shao Kai could crack it besides her father. Completing this interesting task would also earn her a large sum of money. It was simply a perfect retirement job. Seemingly moved by Yen Mo's words, Shao Kai quickly appeared on the target's main route. By her own strength, she killed all the bodyguards, and successfully obtained the safe. At this moment, Yen Mo and his subordinates arrived. They were all in awe of Shao Kai's abilities. Suddenly, Yen Mo fired 2 shots at Shao Kai. He ordered his men to throw her into the river. Then he quickly returned. Yen Mo waited in the shop for the employer to arrive. He informed them that there were no survivors. The other party said nothing, until Yen Mo's subordinate brought the safe. It turned out that the man belonged to the CIA Group 2, and this mysterious substance also belonged to Group 2. The people who were killed were actually operatives from Group 1, so everything was just internal competition within the CIA. Moreover, Yen Mo can't escape the fate of being killed.
당분간 별도 지시 있을 때까지 꼼짝 말고 대기해.
But Yen Mo was aware of the situation. When he entered the room, he patted the 2 undercover agents beside him. His men immediately shot both of them dead. The girl appeared on the bank of the reservoir. She was severely injured, but more than the pain, Shao Kai cared about the white flower of mourning. The girl quickly wiped it off, and put it back on her head. Then she pulled out a cloth from her pocket. Inside was a tube of mysterious black substance. It was the target of this mission, the Tyrant. She took advantage of the gap before Yen Mo arrived, to open the safe and retrieve the goods. But now Shao Kai didn't know the purpose of the Tyrant. She could only put it in her arms first. However, it was very far from the city, and how to get back has become a problem. Fortunately, she soon spotted a taxi, with a woman and 2 men sitting inside. From the girl's reluctant expression, it was clear that she was kidnapped by 2 people, and was about to kill her for money. The driver told the rear passengers to deal with the girl. He then went aside to urinate.
아이 씨발 깜짝이야.
Shao Kai bent down and picked up a branch, breaking it in half. Meanwhile, the thug in the car was about to kill the girl. Suddenly, the driver's head was smashed into the window. The thug hurriedly got out to check. Shao Kai seized the opportunity to get into the car and leave. But at this moment, the girl in the backseat sat up as well. Seeing her disheveled state, Shao Kai directly turned around and returned. She charged towards the thug. Not satisfied with just that, she went straight to the driver, and killed him completely. However, her ruthlessness scared the girl. The girl opened the car door and ran out. Shao Kai didn't care about her. Whether the girl could escape was none of her business. As long as the 2 scumbags were dealt with, that was enough. Soon, she arrived at a private clinic. The doctor helped her treat her wounds, but as a low-profile doctor, he was also a bad person. He saw the cash and the cloth beside him, and planned to steal it all. But when he saw the Tyrant in the vial, he immediately realized this belonged to the CIA, so he called to inform them that Shao Kai was in his possession. Before long, there was a knock at the door. The doctor felt he was about to get rich. However, as soon as he opened the door. Several people rushed into the operating room, but Xiao Kai was nowhere to be found on the bed. Before they could search, Xiao Kai appeared behind them, facing these small fry. Even though Xiao Kai was injured, she could still handle it. Soon, everyone was dealt with by her. After finishing, Xiao Kai prepared to wash off the blood on her. She went to pick a new outfit. However, at this moment, her brother's personality took over. He chose a very stylish outfit. Xiao Kai felt somewhat disgusted about this, but she couldn't argue with her brother. Next, she was going to find Yen Mo for revenge, so she got on the car and set off directly. At this moment, her nemesis, the top assassin Hong, was also on his way.
너무 많이 발랐나 이거? 아유.
His target this time was a mountain dweller. It was said that the old man encountered a 3-armed monster while chopping wood in the mountains. However, just as he was about to be killed, the sun happened to rise. The monster's body began to burn upon contact with sunlight. Then it exploded into pieces. At the same time, a drop of black liquid flew into the old man's eye. At this moment, the old man lay in bed, suffering greatly. His wife was very helpless about it, because her husband kept saying he saw the monster. The doctor thought he had gone crazy. Moreover, the nearby neighbors were also scared, and moved out of the village. At this time, Hong took out his phone, and played a video of the monster. Instantly, the old man trembled in fear. Hong confirmed that the target was indeed the old man. He took out a quarantine hat, then Hong pulled out a gun, and aimed at the old woman. Then he aimed at the old man. The black liquid tried to escape, but Hong shot it back. He fired several more shots. Finally, he set the house on fire to eliminate future trouble. Task completed. Hong prepared to go home and rest. Just as he got into the car, he received a new mission. The targets were Yen Mo and Xiao Kai. Meanwhile, Xiao Kai had already arrived in front of the restaurant. Before getting out of the car, she specifically took a hairpin to pick the lock. The door wasn't even locked, and there was no one inside. At this moment, Xiao Kai noticed a photo on the wall. Instantly, she came up with a plan. On the other side, the leader of the CIA Group 2 arrived at a tower to meet a collaborator, but facing the bodyguard's obstruction, he showed no signs of complaint. Clearly, the other party's status was much higher than his.
Story is quite interesting. Every time I visit, the landscape has changed.
This man is Paul from the United States. He is also the actual controller of Group 2. Paul was very angry about the loss of the Tyrant. He personally came to South Korea, not only to retrieve the serum, but also planned to eliminate Group 1 and the director, and accused the group leader of being nothing. The group leader didn't dare to refute him. Meanwhile, Xiao Kai picked out a car in the parking space. She stuck a newspaper on the back of the car. Xiao Kai got on the car while the owner was getting off. Soon, she drove to the vicinity of Yen Mo's friend's house. The friend's name was Han Xiong. He was an underground arms dealer. Xiao Kai first went to a vending machine to buy 3 bottles of drinks. She drank a bottle and wrapped the rest in her coat. Then she knocked on the door. The person inside was woken from his sleep and was somewhat angry. Seeing that it was a girl, Xiao Kai asked if Han Xiong was there. Clearly, he didn't recognize Xiao Kai. He bluntly told her to get lost.
Hey, Roshan.
Then Xiao Kai asked again. This time, he didn't dare to hide and quickly nodded. However, Xiao Kai had no intention of stopping. She didn't relent until he was half dead. Then Xiao Kai walked deeper into the room. A group of foreigners and Han Xiong were there. Only Han Xiong recognized Xiao Kai.
네가 빠를까? 내가 빠를까?
He knew well how powerful Xiao Kai was. He hurriedly took out the best weapon for her. Unexpectedly, the foreigner next to him didn't realize the seriousness of the situation. He even started to get hands-on. Flashes of gunfire erupted for a moment, and the entire underground arms depot was completely taken down. Only the severely injured Han Xiong was currently alive. Xiao Kai inquired about Yen Mo's whereabouts. Han Xiong quickly said that he might be in his hometown Busan. However, Xiao Kai wouldn't leave any survivors. In the end, she sent him to his grave. At this time, Hong has arrived in Busan and found the hiding place of Yen Mo, confirming that there were people inside. Hong immediately pulled out a silenced pistol. The entire process was smooth and seamless. Hong left only one survivor for interrogation. However, the survivor didn't seem to know Yen Mo's whereabouts, so he killed the survivor. At this moment, Shao Kai also arrived here. She brushed past Hong as he was leaving. However, both of them stopped in their tracks. Hong sensed that she might be the assassination target. Meanwhile, Shao Kai caught the smell of gunpowder on him. Hong then reached into his bag. At the same time, he slowly approached Shao Kai. In a moment of quick thinking, Shao Kai claimed that she didn't like supernatural things. She pretended to mistake him for a priest. Shao Kai didn't want to complicate things right now. After hearing this, Hong also left the area. However, when he went downstairs to check his phone, he suddenly realized that Shao Kai was indeed his target, so he waited downstairs. Meanwhile, Shao Kai entered the house. She wasn't surprised to see the house filled with corpses. Instead, she was relieved to find Yen Mo was not among them, because she wanted to kill him herself, so she turned around and left. Just as she came downstairs, Hong had his eyes on her. A group of hooligans suddenly rushed out and surrounded Hong. With no choice, he could only watch Shao Kai leave. Hong was taken to the parking lot. Before he finally had a chance to take action, a group of thugs lay neatly on the ground, not sure if they were still alive.
아이고야, 나도 이제 진짜 늙었네.
On the other side, Shao Kai found the third person in the photo. She approached and displayed several types of weapons, letting him choose for himself.
너 하여간 뭐 얘기도 꺼내기 전에 씨발 총칼부터 내고 그러냐.
The two were old acquaintances. Moreover, the wound on the old man's hand was left by her 10 years ago. He said he would say anything, but he truly didn't know Yen Mo's whereabouts. He just told her that the backing of the target was the CIA. If he confessed, he would die. Just as he wanted to persuade Shao Kai to back off, suddenly, Shao Kai told him to be silent. Then she turned to look behind her. The man complied with Shao Kai throughout. The old man was killed by Hong. As she slowly walked out of the room, Hong held a gun to her head. He then asked Shao Kai what she knew. Seeing that she had no intention of speaking, he pretended he was about to kill her. But Shao Kai said to take him with her. When Hong sensed something and looked down, he was startled. The position Shao Kai chose was very treacherous. If he was lucky, he would die quickly. If he was unlucky, he would only be a eunuch in the next life. As they spoke, the tension between them escalated. Shao Kai seized the opportunity to shoot his foot. Hong quickly ran to the side. He picked up the shotgun and shot Shao Kai in the arm. Both quickly hid in different places to perform emergency treatment on their wounds. Then Shao Kai asked if he had already killed Yen Mo. Receiving a negative answer, Shao Kai felt relieved. He stated that he wanted to kill Yen Mo himself. They were about to settle the score. Suddenly, Hong received a notification. After reading it, he felt a headache coming on. He stated that they should first ceasefire to deal with important matters, and he needed to take Shao Kai with him. At this point, she realized that Yen Mo had appeared, and that he had taken refuge in the CIA. Hong handed his car keys to Shao Kai, because his foot was injured, and he couldn't drive. Meanwhile, Yen Mo on the road was also facing difficulties. He hadn't gone far when he was surrounded by Paul and his men. They opened fire immediately. Then the Superhuman walked over and lifted the car roof off. Even the car doors were ripped off. Thus, Yen Mo fell into his hands. The deputy leader of Group 2 was furious, but dared not speak, fearing for his life at this moment. Then Paul told him to behave. He just needed to wait for him to deliver Director Choi's head. Meanwhile, Director Choi had also been tied up in the car by Paul. If he didn't know a lot of secrets, Paul would probably have solved them long ago. Yen Mo was complaining about Director Choi's ruthlessness in the car, having helped him solve so many problems. Yet Director Choi actually hired Hong to kill him. Hong had already tracked him down to this location. The last car in the convoy decided to intercept Hong alone, but he was overestimating himself. The next car had to stop to intercept. There is a superhuman in this car, who just pulled open the door with his bare hands. Seeing the two coming aggressively, metallic runes appeared on their faces. Even when shot, it didn't seem to matter much. A shoulder charge sent the car flying into the grass. When he approached, he found the car was already empty. He quickly scanned the surroundings. Suddenly, he was shot in the forehead by Shao Kai. However, as a superhuman, the man unexpectedly got back up. He kicked Shao Kai several meters away. Then he approached her, ready to deliver a fatal blow. In a critical moment, Hong arrived. He smashed the man's foot, then he shot him in the head. However, Hong knew well the resilience of such monsters. He fired 3 shots directly at the man's head. Hong turned to Shao Kai, ready to take her with him. Suddenly, Shao Kai was possessed by the Tyrant. Hong was very shocked. He didn't expect that the Tyrant had been within her all along. However, the container had now shattered. Hong immediately drew his gun and shot, but Shao Kai pushed him away. She stated that she hadn't lost her mind. The priority was to deal with Yen Mo first. Meanwhile, Paul's team arrived at an abandoned theater. This was the secret base of Director Choi. Paul was very angry about the death of his superhuman subordinate. He questioned where the Tyrant was. Seeing that the other party refused to speak made him even angrier. But now he couldn't kill Director Choi, so he vented his anger on his subordinates. However, the deaths of his subordinates seemed unrelated to Director Choi, so he has no inner turmoil. Under the guidance of another superhuman subordinate, Paul and his team quickly arrived at the depths of the theater. This should be the place where the safe was stored. However, the reactions of the people inside left Paul puzzled. He hurried over to check the safe. Paul discovered that it was empty, because this box has been cracking the password since it was retrieved. Until the password was just cracked, everyone was suddenly confused. Director Choi kept insisting that he didn't know where the Tyrant was, but Paul didn't believe him, so he began executing his subordinates in front of him. When it was Yen Mo's turn, the other party suddenly said he knew where the Tyrant was, because he remembered that only Shao Kai could open the safe, so the Tyrant must be in their hands. At this moment, Shao Kai and Hong also came rushing in. Then the two split up to act. Hong could handle these small thugs. Shao Kai faced off against the superhuman. She was immediately knocked away by him, but the Tyrant also emerged on her face. Only then did the other party realize that Shao Kai was also a superhuman. In the next second, her potential was activated. She displayed powerful combat abilities as well. The two immediately engaged in a fierce struggle. Shao Kai was pinned against the wall by him. However, her fighting strength was rapidly increasing. She kicked the wall to gather strength and knocked him flying. However, the opponent caught Shao Kai and threw her upstairs. Meanwhile, Hong quickly cleaned up the minions. He held a gun to Paul's head. Paul had to lower his gun, but he wasn't particularly afraid. After all, he was from the American side. Director Choi probably wouldn't dare to lay a hand on him. However, Director Choi seemed indifferent. He simply smiled lightly and patted his shoulder. The person escaping was Yen Mo. At this moment, Director Choi asked Hong why he only shot his legs. Hong replied that he had promised someone else. Yen Mo's life must be left to the other party. At this point, Shao Kai burst through the wall. Director Choi also noticed the patterns on her arm. He suddenly realized that the Tyrant was within Shao Kai. Then the two superhumans began to battle. For a time, neither side gained the upper hand. The foreigner drew a large machete. Shao Kai grabbed a steel rod. During the fight, the machete pierced her body. The foreigner was also pierced through the neck by the steel rod, but he still managed to kick Shao Kai away. Then he swung the machete at her shoulder. However, this time he found that the machete couldn't go any deeper. Shao Kai's superpowers had reached their peak. She threw the foreigner against the wall. Then she picked up the machete and pierced his skull, pinning it to a support column. Afterward, she picked up a handgun and shot Yen Mo dead. Suddenly, Hong shot Shao Kai in the head. It was now time for them to settle the score. Shao Kai said she had completely adapted. Suddenly, Director Choi ordered his men to turn on the lights. The Tyrant was in severe pain facing the bright light. Hong took the opportunity to shoot again with the shotgun. Shao Kai was pushed back under the assault. Suddenly, the Tyrant fully awakened and took over the body. He quickly picked up the handgun and shot out all the floodlights. Shao Kai's Tyrant persona was officially activated. The three personalities in one body were somewhat noisy. The Tyrant expressed the desire to kill Director Choi. However, the other party didn't care. He just glanced at his watch and urged him to leave quickly and found a dark place to hide because dawn was approaching. At this time, a large number of footsteps could be heard outside. Director Choi knew that Group 2 was coming. He hurriedly urged the Tyrant to leave. Otherwise, they would die together here. And at this moment, Director Choi had already resigned himself to death. Now his power has been completely dismantled. He knew he was about to face death. So he calmly sits here waiting for the enemy. At this moment, Hong suddenly breaks free from his restraints. He quickly kills several enemies with his handgun. Then he rushes to the window and jumps down. Below is a river. Although he successfully escapes, he is shot several times. Meanwhile, Director Choi pretends to surrender. But at the moment the guards approach, he snatches the handgun.
내가 사무실에서 펜타라고 걸린다고? 지금 나 무시한 거야?
In the end, Director Choi sacrifices himself to protect the tyrant's secret. Only in this way could they not read the secret from his mind. At this moment, a shadow suddenly flashes underwater. It quickly descended with the flood. The first season ends here. The fight scenes are as brutal as those in The Witch. The casting is also quite good. It has a similar strong female lead setup. This work tells the story of the Witch's past and present, and the final piece of the Tyrant's plan. It feels like a low-budget version of Venom, including the final dialogue between the Tyrant persona and Shao Kai, which is quite similar. Overall, the show is basically an entertaining piece. With the addition of the Tyrant later on, it becomes even more explosive. However, there is a bit too little fighting in Tyrant form. It didn't quite satisfy my craving. The film also has some drawbacks. First of all, the shots are too dark, although the Tyrant's setting is that he fears sunlight. The black image greatly affects the visual experience. Also, some shots are a bit shaky. Overall, it is acceptable. The final ending suggests that there will be a new season. Looking forward to the Tyrant's performance in the upcoming series. Alright, the video ends here. If you enjoy my channel, please click subscribe. Your support is the greatest encouragement for me.